Evening, folks. It's 6:30 p.m. and I'd like to call the June 5th special meeting of the South Orange Maplewood Board of Education to order. Mr. Burnside, please take the roll call.
Board Member Nubia Duval-Wilson.
Here.
Board Member Regina Eckert.
Here.
Board Member Bill Gifford.
Here.
Board Member Alyssa Malaspina.
Here.
Board Member Kali Telesford. Board Member Arun Vadlamani.
Here.
Board Member Courtney Winkfield. Board President Caitlin Whitletter.
Here.
Board Member Johanna Wright.
Present.
Student Representative Noah Morose.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burnside. If we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take note that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. A written notice was sent from the Office of the Secretary of the Board at 11 a.m. on May 31st, 2023. That said notice was sent via email to Maplewood and South Orange Township clerks and the editors of the News Record, Star Ledger, and the Village Green. Tonight's meeting is truly special. We are here this evening to honor our incredible educators. Thank you to those of you who have joined us this evening. The board is thrilled to celebrate you and the positive impact you've made on the lives of our students and their families. We will kick off the meeting with our last student rep update from Student Rep Morose. On behalf of the board, we would like to thank Mr. Morose and Ms. Prevlian for their dedication and service to representing the needs of their student body over the past few years. It's been a pleasure to know them and work with them. Congratulations, Noah and Vanessa. You will be greatly missed, and we can't wait to see what your next chapter will bring. So with that, I will hand it off to Student Rep Morose for his last student rep update.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. So, as was just said, I'm sitting here tonight honored to give my last ever student rep report. Sorry. So this all started back in June of my sophomore year, where I decided to run for a spot vacated at the time by my AP US History teaching assistant, Lily Foreman, who's now at Stanford doing amazing things. But she was really the first one to talk to me about what the role was and kind of what it entailed. So a little shout out to her there. But yeah. But this position felt different than what else was being offered in our school student council. Not a president or a treasurer, but a representative of those that I went to class with every single day. It was a chance to make change at the district level or fight for those who didn't have a voice to offer. And from start to end, that's been my goal over the last 2 years. And I can only hope that I did that successfully. But I will be forever grateful from how much I learned from my time sitting right here at this table, how our educational policy is made and edited, the impact of community input, but most importantly, the value of public education. The fact that our community chooses who sits on this board is important. Every voter in our town has a say somewhat in how our district operates, whether it's at the ballot box or sitting right there in that chair, as I've seen for many hours over the last 2 years during public speaks. I chose to attend a public university over smaller private universities because of how much this role has taught me about the value of public institutions. I wanted to thank Dr. Taylor, who, even through me being very critical of the district at times, has always stuck by me and Vanessa's side, offering his time and email inbox at any time of the day to meet or answer our questions or concerns. It's valuable to have a superintendent who is this open to student input, yes, publicly here when the cameras are on and when the newspaper people are ready to write articles, but also privately too. He's been there every step of the way for the last 2 years for Vanessa and I, and he truly cares about our input. So I want to say that publicly here. It's not just for show. He really, truly means it. And I also wanted to pass that message along to the board here too, because I know that we all have our disagreements, maybe with each other on the board here, but I think it's important to recognize for everybody here and watching at home in the audience that everybody's here because they care a lot. What they're doing is what they think is best for the board. And I feel honored to have been a part of that over the last 2 years here. And I want to say thank you I never felt neglected, one time over the last 2 years. When I first came onto the board, everybody was very welcoming, and I've now seen almost two boards. And every board member that has come on has always been very welcoming to student input that Vanessa and I give. I just want to give one more shout out to my parents that are sitting right over there. Every single meeting, regardless of how late they go, they always stay up and watch them. So yeah, so I don't know. They probably know just as much about the school district as me or anybody else sitting on the board. So just want to say thank you to them too, and thank you to all of you guys in the community and the student body for giving me the opportunity to sit up here for the last 2 years, learn a ton, and hopefully represent them to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Let's give a huge round of applause to Noah. And Vanessa will join us on June 22nd. Thank you again for your contributions to the South Orange and Maplewood School District. And please keep us updated on your future endeavors. So with that, we'll turn it over to Dr. Taylor. I will now ask Dr. Taylor to lead us through the staff recognition ceremony.
No, it's been great working with you. Tell us where you're going. You didn't share that information. Come on.
Rutgers, New Brunswick.
Awesome. Awesome. So your predecessor gave me a beautiful mug from her university, and it's in my office. No pressure, Mom and Dad. And I would love to put an authentic Rutgers students mug there if you have a moment when you're having great times next year.
Going down there tomorrow morning for Naval ROTC, so I'll get you one when I'm down there.
Hoorah, hoorah to Noah. Thank you. And for those of us who were able to attend the seniors night, we saw how many other recognitions that Noah received, just validating what we already knew, that you are an outstanding student and rep of all of your fellow students, not just at the high school, but you all go to your middle schools and elementary schools. So thank you for continuing the legacy left by Ms. Foreman. Thank you to our HR team and all who gave your time and energy to prepare us, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I'm almost over it, Ms. Eckert, I promise. I'm almost over it. Ms. Wright, I'm sorry. Who helped us this evening. We have 17 retirees who have contributed a total of, anyone want to guess how many years? 17, 400 and, okay. Anyone else? 360.8 years of service to our school district. So I'm a stickler for process, so just to lay it all out for you, each presenter will be called forward to introduce their honoree. Once those heartfelt introductions are complete, if our retirees feel up to it and are comfortable, you can also address the community. We will then pose for a picture with you and your presenter, your family if they're present, with your certificate. I will then introduce the next presenter. For all those who are present when we are complete, our board president will then give greetings to our retirees and send you off with the board's blessings and thanks. Sounds good? All right. Mr. Bonds, I saw that Ms. Swiberius was trying to get online. Is she on? All right. Ms. Swiberius, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing our beloved nurse, Jean Johnson. Principal Horn sends her regards. Principal Horn and I have had the pleasure of working with you, Jean, affectionately known as Nurse Johnson, for the past 5 years. However, you have been devoted to Marshall for nearly 34 years. You are a staple in our school community. Many people speak of how our staff members have positively impacted their children, and they always speak of you. I don't think there is anyone who doesn't trust you or feel cared by you. You have been the school nurse for literally thousands of children and also many of our current Marshall parents as well. Your devotion to your job and the kindness shown to everyone you touch are incomparable. You always went above and beyond in caring for as well as advocating for our children, communicating with our families, and educating us as a staff. Upon learning of your retirement, we received many emails expressing gratitude for you. One family described you as always warm, caring, and thorough. Another described your office as a safe haven. Yet another said their kindergartner talked about you with such respect and care, and that whenever he went to you, they knew that he was safe and well treated. During one of the most challenging times we faced as educators, the COVID-19 pandemic, you were right there in the trenches with us, as brave and hardworking as ever. Your support made a challenging period easier to manage. You made us all feel valued and cared for. Whenever you spoke of retirement, we would hold our breath and pray each year that you change your mind and that your name would not be on the list. I would breathe a sigh of relief when the list was published and we did not see your name. This year, though, we were not so lucky. And the list was published, and there it was, Jean Johnson. Saying farewell to you and no longer seeing you in the nurse's office is very hard. But this next phase is well earned. You deserve a long and happy retirement, and we hope that you make the most of it. We wish you all the best in this new phase of your journey. Congratulations. You will be so tremendously missed. Thank you, Jean.
Nurse Johnson, all right. Thank you, Keith.
And if anyone knows me, I don't like speaking in public. But Jean Johnson wasn't just there for the children. She was there for every staff member. She was the first person who knew when we were pregnant, the first person we went to when we were getting engaged. She was like the heart of Marshall School, and she was the heart for all the teachers as well. And just know that we love you and we miss you every day that we walk into that building, Jean. So thank you.
If I can just say something also, I just want to thank everyone. I walked in the door 33 years ago. My husband and I lived in South Orange, and my first principal, I went through a lot of principals. My first principal hired me, and he said, "I know you're a parent in the school. Can you be professional and do the job?" And he was Mr. Kraus, Ed Kraus. And I said to him, "I certainly can." And I did. I stayed out of everything that needed to stay out of, and I handled my job. My kids, when I arrived, my daughter's 40. She was in second grade. My son is 38. He was in kindergarten, but we didn't have a full-time kindergarten there. And I had just had a baby. And this district just means so much to me. It educated my kids. They are grown and they have wonderful careers. And all the kids that I have worked with throughout the years have meant so much to me. I do have some parents now who were my children. And we just recently moved. We sold our house, and I don't know what to do in another town because South Orange and Maplewood has been our life. So I just want to thank everyone, my wonderful staff, my wonderful principal, vice principal, the board, for giving me that opportunity to be a school nurse. I worked in the ER. I was a neonatal intensive care nurse, and my husband was traveling quite a bit, so I decided to go for my certification. And out of all of those things that I've done, this has been the best job ever. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Please come up for a picture if anybody'd like to. You already have a couple of folks here. All right, our next presenter is Principal Sanchez from Columbia High School.
All right, I think it's on now. We always need substitute nurses, so let's talk. It's always a great evening. It's one of the best evenings of the year. So I want to thank the Board of Education for doing this and our Human Resources Department, because we can really just share the amount of time that these retirees have put for our students. I've been blessed as being principal of Columbia High School of having such a incredible staff. And I always say the reason why we have one of the best staffs that I have ever seen, and I've worked in some incredible districts, is because they're such a veteran staff. And unfortunately, because they're in a veteran staff, that means we do see so many retire. I know we have our other supervisors to speak so much about Eureka and so many of our other members, but I'm here to speak about an administrator who is retiring, and that's Ms. Cheryl Hewitt. Ms. Hewitt has spent over 20 years in this district, and I can just say every time since I've been here and I've had a question, Ms. Hewitt has been there to challenge me, to answer the question, to speak to me about her incredible experiences, whether she was an educator here in many of our schools in South Orange, but also in New Orleans and other districts across New Jersey. Ms. Hewitt is one to always ask about how it impacts students. And I think that's really important when we talk about what is logistically, important, or how we can get things done efficiently. She stops us and says, wait a minute, what about the student? And it's not just about the average student, it's always about, well, how does that impact our students of color? How does that impact our students with special needs? How does that impact our students who may have lost a family member? I mean, she always asks these important questions. And so I know we're losing a lot at Columbia with losing Ms. Hewitt. We're losing our heart, but we're also losing an intellectual who cares a lot about pedagogy. So Ms. Hewitt is one who guided our PLCs with our teachers for the past 4 years or 5 years. And that's one of her favorite things to do. She loves to go into classrooms. She loves to talk about our teachers and the art of teaching. And that sometimes gets lost when we're looking at, student incidents, or we're looking at attendance, or we're looking at grades. She wants to get in there and talk about how great our teachers are doing and how she can support them. So I know that we're gonna lose a great partner next year, but I do look forward for her. She deserves this retirement. She deserves being home with her two children as they start that aspect. They're young. That aspect of college as they're now going into that. But I want to give a big shout out to Ms. Cheryl Hewitt. And our great assistant principal. Come up here, Ms. Hewitt.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you. Mr. Sanchez, I appreciate the kind words, and you hit the nail on the head. It's all about teaching and learning, and I would be remiss not to say that I started in the district in '95 at Tuscan Elementary School, and that is where I learned the most about teaching and learning. And I was reflecting with Martha earlier, we worked together as third grade teachers about all of the wonderful teachers. And as I leave the district, that is what I want you all to just remember. The talent in this district is unparalleled. And if we get those systems going, we'll be ahead of the game. Thank you.
Well said. Now I get to introduce myself. I am the next presenter. If you called the office of the Superintendent of Schools for South Orange and Maplewood School District over the last decade, there's a good chance that you have spoken to Carolyn Moore. Wave up there, Carolyn. If it wasn't Carolyn, it was likely her longtime partner, Liz. If it wasn't either of them, then it was Liana, who worked with Carolyn for the last year or so of her journey. If it wasn't Liana, then it was likely Cassandra, who joined us and has been on a fast learning curve, although she was just across the hall in HR for a number of years. Our office is the central nervous system of our school district. Many people call us because they honestly don't know who to call for the help that they need. They sometimes are not sure of what help they actually need. But I can guarantee that once they spoke to Carolyn or the other folks who I named, who Carolyn has had a lasting relationship with, an impact on, they were better off. They could have been a new family just trying to figure out registration, or the family of an elementary student who just changed homes in town, or looking for special services or HR, et cetera. Carolyn Moore, for years, was one of the faces of our office, which for many means that she was one of the faces of our district. Her nickname in our office was Mama Bear. By some, Due to her wisdom and her guidance, and sometimes even serving as a parenting voice for some really upset parents. She did far more than answer phones, of course. She helped our parents, our staff, our community members. She was always busy helping us pay our bills via our purchase orders. She worked very closely with our attorneys and our lead in our communications office. And she was a go-to person for our anti-bullying specialists when they had quick HIB questions. Carolyn was always selfless in serving our needs as an office and a district, yet she still managed to have time to be a loving mom and wife. When she wasn't busy helping all of us, she couldn't stop herself from sharing stories about her loving family. While you have been able to stop by here or there to check in on us, please know that you are not only missed, but on behalf of our SLT, our school leaders, our ABS, the thousands of parents, employees, and community members you have helped over the years, your mama bear influence is still in our office and our hearts. So thank you for all that you did for us, and congratulations, Carolyn. I know that Principal Sanchez spoke about some of the stops that Ms. Hewitt made along her career. Carolyn, for years before she joined us for a number of years, was also a part of New York City Public Schools and brought a lot of that expertise with her to our offices. Ms. Moore, anything that you'd like to share with us? The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Taylor, for those fond words that you have shared about me and those very nice accolades. I really appreciate it. I've been with this district for about 15 years. And I have to say that when I first joined the district, I was recruited by Dr. Osborne, and it was definitely a learning curve. As Courtney from New York City would know, the board in New York City is quite different from the board here in Maplewood. And it was a different learning curve. I wasn't sure what to expect when he recruited me. But it was a good decision that I made back then. It allowed me to spend time with my family during a time when my kids were young. I was able to be a mom to them during a crucial time in their life. Just a funny story that I always share with everyone. In New York City, you know, I was still commuting. I was living in New Jersey, so I was commuting back and forth and, you know, coming home 7:30, 8 o'clock every single night. And so my routine for my then 5 or 6-year-old was come home, rush, do homework, try to feed them, look at their homework real quick, and then put them in the bed. And so that was just my routine. And having that family time with them was just very difficult. So we just had to crash everything in on the weekends. So when I first started working in Maplewood, um, I was getting home at like 5:30. And so my son at the time, who was young, he knew what the routine was, which is, we sat around the kitchen table and I was cooking dinner real quick and I would just check the homework. And of course that meant as soon as I check your homework, that means you go to bed. So when I got home and it was like 5:30 and he looks outside and he's like, it's light outside. And I'm checking his homework and he says, wait, does this mean I have to go to bed? Because he couldn't understand why I was home so early. And he was used to the routine. And I said, no, this is the time that normal parents come home, and this means I get to spend a little bit more time with you. So being at South Orange and Maplewood allowed me that time to spend that extra time with them. And I also got to learn a lot. I never imagined that I would have such one-on-one parent times with the community because I didn't have that in New York City. We weren't allowed to have, I didn't have that one-on-one. And so the parents taught me quick, fast, and in a hurry out here. And so it taught me to have patience, And it taught me to listen and to understand what the issues were. And it also helped me to understand that, you know, they have real issues and they have real concerns about their children. And so that's something I learned. And I wanted to make sure that I listened to what their concerns were. And I didn't want to brush them off. And so I tried to be as helpful as I could to parents and listen to their concerns. And I never wanted to just pass a parent off and just transfer them. And so my goal was to always try to help as parents as much as I could. If I couldn't help them, I wanted to find someone who could help them. That was always my goal. So I tried to instill that with anybody also who I work with. So whether it was Liana or whether it was Liz, I wanted to be our office, we need to be helpful to them. Because if you call the superintendent's office, you're looking for help. You know, we shouldn't be an office who brushes them off. They're looking for help. They're looking for someone who can actually assist them. And so that was what I hope that, you know, they got from our office. And I appreciate the fact that I was entrusted with many projects, very serious projects, HIB being one of them. That's a very serious thing, something that was very serious, but was dear to my heart because these are children, these were children's lives, bullying, seeing some of the serious things that were happening to kids at that time. Some very sad things that happened during those times and when I was helping the attorney and the HIB coordinators on those cases. The HIB coordinators were some of the people who were most dear to my heart. And I really got close to them and I enjoyed working with them and the parent coordinated, the parent to center as well. Also policy, learned a lot about the board and the way the board works. Also the kindergarten full day registration, that was something that I started doing when I first got there. So all of those projects helped me to grow as a person and helped me to shape who I am today. And as well as special education settlements, again, helping to know what real issues are with the parents. Parents are advocates for their children. And I think every parent should be an advocate for their children. I was an advocate for my son. My son had an IEP and I understand what that's like. And so every parent should be an advocate for their child. So I appreciate the time that I had here there with the board. And I appreciate everyone who has helped me and helped me to grow. And I appreciate all the wonderful people that I got to work with, and I shall miss my colleagues immensely. And lastly, I just want to say, even though I'm retired, you know, I started when I was like, 5 years old, so I'm not as old as I look. I have 35 years of education. I have 23 years in New York City, now 14, 15 years in South Orange and Maplewood. But I really, really appreciate everything that everyone has done for me, and I should miss you all immensely. And I wish all of the retirees that I have worked with and over the years all the very, very best. And even our student reps, they have done a tremendous job and they have served the position with dignity. So I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carolyn. And we do miss you. Please don't be a stranger. Next up, our presenter is Principal Majid of Tuscan.
Good evening. I am here to honor an amazing teacher, Martha O'Connor. We've all heard the expression that a truly great teacher is hard to find, difficult to part with, and impossible to replace. And Martha O'Connor is exactly that teacher. Martha O'Connor has served this district for 25 years as a kindergarten teacher at Tuscan. And I have had the honor to work alongside with her and to just be amazed by her for 21 of those 25 years. Martha is like our soul sister. I mentioned before when Barbara Jackson retired, Anna Reyes, Cheryl Hewitt now, breaking my heart. Cheryl was my son's, she was assistant principal at Tuscan when my son was in the second grade. So we have a strong connection and bond. And Martha was on the third grade team with Cheryl, Anna, Barbara Jackson, and I believe Joyce Smith. And the previous principal wanted to make sure every child had a teacher of color. And Martha is beautifully representative of the diversity of color within our community, because the soul of a teacher comes from your heart, and it's not always what's on the outside, it's absolutely what's on the inside. And Martha, one of my favorite lessons that you used to do when we were able to have food in the classroom, which is way back, was a lesson that we would call like a model lesson in diversity: brown eggs and white eggs. And you would cook the eggs and show the eggs, and the students would taste them. You would explore them. It was a hands-on science, learning, diverse experience for students. And they knew what was most important with all of us was what's on the inside. What's on the inside. And you did that in the kindergarten class. During the holidays, another favorite lesson was a lesson on needs versus wants. Oh my goodness. That discussion among 24 kindergartners was so dynamic, so amazing. There were pictures of different items they had to sort, and it all came down to what's most important: family, love, friendships, and not those material things. And that was something so wonderful, so beautiful. The students talked about fresh air, exercise, having someone love and care for them. And you have done that. You have loved and cared for Tuscan's children for 25 years. Wow. And I miss you so much already. We had kindergarten orientation and you weren't there, and my heart broke. Can you stand next to me as my emotional support person? My emotional support person. And I'm not gonna cry. I put extra makeup on. So, but I love the way you introduce yourself to the families. And I know what you said, but you said it better. You talked about your degree from Dickinson, and you said,
I have a degree in Russian and Soviet area studies with an art history minor. And I said, oh, but it was the 70s.
it was the
It's the 70s. I don't know.
And then I loved when you used to say you lived in
Chatham.
in Chatham, but the part
Where the nice people live.
where the nice people live, right? Because you are one of the nicest people, and we are so honored. You, of course, teaching, learning has always been wonderful in your classroom. It's kindergarten magic. You were able to make like just an ordinary school day into something extraordinary for children. It was a big mess. The leprechauns that came into the bathroom, and then the water was green, the footprints all over. Again, we could have food, the barbecue sauce and the bath salts, latkes, the turkey, oh my gosh, a Thanksgiving feast. But we could go on and on, but we won't. We've had so much, and you've dedicated so much. And above all things, you've given children a really firm foundation for learning. The winner, they left your classroom confident, independent learners, more than ready for first grade, reading, thinking, writing. It's been truly amazing.
And some of them work for the district now.
And some of them work for the district now. I know, it's like the grand teacher. But thank you for everything. Congratulations to all our retirees and to Martha O'Connor. Yes.
Say anything now, Josh.
You deserve all the we did it together. You deserve all the happiness to come.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I did put notes in my phone, but oh my gosh. Well, yeah. If you were a bunch of little kids, it would be easy. But, well, I'll try. Anyway, if I get stuck, I'll just do that. Anyway, it's been a wonderful ride. We've had so much fun. I find myself thinking of all the little, I actually added them up. I think there've been like 600 kids that have come through my door. And I've loved each and every one of them as if they were my own, and they could make me mad, and I could, we'd laugh, and I'd look at them and say, if I didn't care about you, you couldn't make me mad. So sit down and get your work done. Yeah, I mean, one of the best compliments a parent ever gave me was that they would, when there were things going on at home, they would say, "What would Mrs. O'Connor say?" And sometimes it would turn into Aunt Martha, but what would Mrs. O'Connor say? And they're like, oh, I guess I better do it, But anyway, it's been lovely. I really feel at home. I feel very sort of split, as to, but it's time. But as I told the kids, I'm not planning on disappearing. I'm not moving anywhere. I plan to resurface in some other guise. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Can't stop.
Okay, no, we're not rushing at all. We're not rushing, no.
I would go on and on and on, and you don't. I became close. You were close, but you didn't. I'm proud of you. Oh, yeah. Proud of you. Okay.
So our next presenter, I believe, is virtual. Yep, I see her up there. Mary DeSarno, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. I have the pleasure of standing in for Principal Glander this evening, and I would like to speak on behalf of Stacy Padalino as her colleague. Stacy has serviced Maplewood, South Orange, and in particular Seth Boyden for 32 years of service. The same school that she has loved for 32 years has nothing but love back for her. For 32 years, Stacy has taught second grade. She's taught fourth grade. She is most currently, for the past, 8 years, been in academic intervention for reading, where we are colleagues currently. Also, she has helped to run our school's safety patrol program, instilling confidence and so much in all of her students. Most recently, a former student from many years ago has contacted her, and she is now a principal of her own elementary school. And when speaking with Stacy, and Stacy said, "Oh, thank you for reaching out. How are you?" And she said, "Well, Stacy, I'm reaching out to you because I'm hiring students for teachers in my school. And as I sit here and I think about what qualities I want to hire in a teacher, you are the teacher that comes to mind. You are the teacher, everything I think of, this is what I want. This is what I want to hire." And she spent a lot of time talking with Stacy and coming to a special planned retirement dinner just to share all of the characteristics of what has stood out to her about Miss Padalino all these years. Just in closing, I just would like you to all help me wish Stacy Padalino a warm retirement, as I know she has taken so much time of her life and dedicated it 32 years, not just to our school district, but to Seth Boyden, and has selfishly given of herself. And now it's time for her to start her new journey and to give to herself. Thank you.
Ms. Padalino, are you on with us?
Yes, I'm here.
The floor is yours.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much I'm gonna get emotional, but part of the reason I'm not there is I live like an hour and a half away from Seth Boyden, but I grew up in Union, 5 minutes away. But when my parents and I moved, there was no way I could teach in any other school but Seth Boyden. So even though I live down the shore, I travel for Seth Boyden. I've enjoyed all my years there. I will really miss the students there. I can't imagine September not seeing them. I've met so many wonderful colleagues and people and administrators, and it's like a second home to me. More than half my life I've spent there. I'm just not going to miss the 2 hour this morning commute that I got up there. So once again, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. And I don't want to get emotional, but I really wish my dad could see me, who was the captain of South Orange Police Department and helped me prepare my retirement and passed away a year ago. So I just want to thank my parents and I wish he could see me. So thank everybody in the South Orange community for me, and it was my father's home as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Can't say it better. Our next, and I think our last presenter is Dr. Bean Folks.
Well, good evening, everyone. And we always save the best for last. When I heard that Ulrika was going to retire, I said, I can't believe this. She and I both arrive together most mornings. She's my buddy that I pass in the hallway. So I'm going to miss you terribly. But when I started to talk to others in the department and just asking them about Ulrika and what might we say? Well, first of all, I might say, I'm going to miss you dearly. Not only from that walk in the morning, but when anything happens, that knock on the door and she sits down and she's like, okay, let's talk. I love that. But my colleagues have said, Ulrika, you're like a buzzball. You're passionate for literature, and it's evident in how you zoom about your classroom, growing more and more excited as ideas grow and grow. And I have to say, she's got a wicked sense of humor, which I love. Others have said that she's a wonderfully supportive colleague and friend. Others have described you as warm, funny, collegial, a compassionate professional, and beloved by your students. You're dedicated, you're down to earth. You have so many rich experiences, and she's an avid storyteller. But your love for the students is unending, and your commitment to their success is truly inspiring. We're going to miss you, but we know that you're going off to a much greater journey, and you can always come back and visit. Absolutely, but we are going to miss you, and as a result, I'd like to share this with you on behalf of the department, and it reads, presented to Ulrika Wieding, in appreciation for your dedication to education, for believing in children, for guiding through example, for inspiring passion, for leaving an everlasting mark on the future. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service. That's right. That's right. HR did a great job. Thank you very much. The floor is yours if you'd like.
Yeah, could you turn it on for me?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, I'd like to thank the board very much for allowing me to teach here. It's It's really been a blast. And as I tell my students, and I've said this through the years, I look at them and I say to them, when I stop laughing, that's when I know it's time to leave. I am leaving, but I haven't stopped laughing. And they've given me so much joy, and I smile all the time, and I'm chuckling all the time, that I'm going to take that laughter and that joy with me as I think about them and my experiences here. And I just want to thank you very much for allowing me to teach here, to teach at Columbia High School, to teach the students, to teach your children. Thank you very much. It's been really fun.
Some pictures. Please, sure.
Yeah. Over there.
Colombia?
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Come on, Colombia.
Yes.
Wait, we have to go to the side? They showing the belly.
Good, yeah. Got that? Good.
Would anyone like to be in a picture with anyone?
No.
Let's get one. I'm selfish. I want to.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. We do have attendees, well, we do have honorees who are not in attendance. I'll read their names for our record, and we'll get them their certificates as well. Gerald Archibald, Dr. Janet Bustrin, Beatrice Greenberg, Lynn or Line Marshall, I apologize. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. It's spelled L-I-N-E, right? I'm doing, okay, all right, thank you. David Mastronato, thank you. Mark Richmond, Stacy Robinson, Amy Singer, Bernadine Smith, Mark Terenzi, Faraja Thompson. Thank you for your service. Madam President.
Today, on behalf of the South Orange Maplewood Board of Education, we'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to a group of extraordinary educators who have dedicated their lives to educating the young minds of our community. We gather here today to bid farewell and extend our deepest thanks to our beloved teachers who are embarking on a new chapter in their lives. Retirement! May this new chapter of your lives be filled with joy, fulfillment, and the opportunity to pursue additional passions. Take this time to reflect on the incredible accomplishments you have achieved and the lives you have touched. Please know that your contributions have not gone unnoticed. They have positively influenced the trajectory of countless lives, leaving an indelible mark on generations to come. We are forever grateful for the immeasurable impact each of you have had on our students and the South Orange Maplewood school community as a whole. Thank you for your exceptional service and unwavering dedication to our students and their families. You will all be greatly missed. Thank you so much. So I'd like to make a motion to take a brief recess for 10 minutes so that the board can properly acknowledge and congratulate our educators this evening. We want to get some time with you. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? All right, we will be taking a brief recess and we'll come back for public speaks and for the action portion of the meeting. Thank you so much.
I feel like taking one and running.
Thank you.
here at South Orange Maplewood School District. Thank you so much. And thank you all for your patience. We are now going to begin our hearing of individuals and delegates. Thank you for coming in person and dialing in by phone this evening. The South Orange Maplewood Board of Education certainly respects that you've taken the time out of your busy day to address the board at tonight's meeting. We value public involvement in our school district, and we are eager to hear what you have to say. The board does have time limits by policy, and it will be enforcing those to enable as many people to speak as possible this evening. Each individual will be given 3 minutes to speak. Please do your best to stay within the time afforded to you. All input shared with the Board of Education is taken very seriously and will inform future deliberations and work by the Board of Education and its committees. We have no in-person public speaks this evening, but we do have one virtual public speaks. Mr. Bonds, can you please bring on Shannon Cuddle?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Shannon.
Hey, so I just want to take this opportunity, thank you, Board President, to say congratulations to all our retirees and for their service to our district, especially during these troubling times during COVID, and all that you've given. We know that teachers are underappreciated and support staff, and we should celebrate them more. I also want to take the opportunity to extend my congratulations for service for Carlin Moore as well. I had the opportunity to work with them as a BOE member and as a community member, and know that they have worked tirelessly in many different capacities. Folks will never know the many multiple hats that she wore to help keep our district running. And always thinking of students first. I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate Noah on his last meeting with us, but also congratulate Vanessa as well. They came on board during my service on the BOE and following other phenomenal student leaders that we've had, and I've got the pleasure to know. I just want to extend a gratitude of support for their service in raising and amplifying student voices. Wish them both well on their next endeavors. And it is my hope that for consideration for this board and future boards, that during this type of ceremony, that perhaps we consider extending a small, not just a verbal gratitude, a celebration of our student leaders to help encourage them to do service. And hope that we can do that with Noah and Vanessa and their counterparts in the future as well. I also want to take a point of privilege to also thank the tireless work of our unsung heroes that are leaving our district tonight as well, that may not be lifted up, those that are moving on, or those that are behind the scenes working in many different ways and capacities that we don't get to acknowledge. In all of our service to students at all levels, janitorial, whether it be working with our students in one-on-one, our custodial staff, or our other staff members as well that are part of us. I just want to acknowledge that as well. And just one more point, I would say that this is supposed to be a day of celebration, not necessarily work for the board, and would encourage the Board of Education in the future to hold this type of special celebration to be solely for supporting our teachers and tireless staff and families, and not trying to do work on the board in between meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shannon. We really appreciate it. And I just wanted to make one point of clarification before I pass it over to Dr. Taylor, that the reason why Noah, we're celebrating him this evening, is that he will not be at the June 22nd meeting. He's heading off to New Jersey Boys State, where he'll be working. So congratulations to Noah for that. But we did intend to have a celebration, and we will do that for Board Rep Vanessa Privley on the 22nd. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add, Dr. Taylor.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, Madam President. Thank you, and want to appreciate the thanks that former board member Cuddle gave to our honorees, both present and who are out in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes our public speaks for this evening. I'm just going to check the online. Yep, we're good. So we are now going to move on to the action portion of the meeting. There are 3 policies up for first read this evening. These 3 policies are the byproduct of the collective effort of the board, district admin, and the community at large to extensively vet these particular policies. The 3 policies are also directly tied to the 2022-23 district goals. So policy 7740, security on school premises, and policy 8420, emergency and crisis situations, were put up for first read during the February 23rd meeting. And the current iteration of these policies, which are up for first read, have incorporated feedback from the board and the community. Policy 8600, transportation, is also up for first read this evening. Policy 8600 has been an ongoing body of work for the FFT committee and the board at large, as the revision of policy 8600 is both a district goal and a board goal for the 2022-23 school year. The updated language in this policy will account for the Board of School estimate approval of non-state mandated transportation at 1.25 miles for pre-K through 5th grade students. Policy 8600 has also been reviewed and approved by our legal counsel. One change you'll see in policy 8600 is that the hazardous routes have been removed from the policy. Please rest assured that hazardous routes still exist. This removal from policy 8600 was done intentionally as the FFT committee decided to create an entirely new policy, 8600.1, that is solely for hazardous route designation. Policy 8600.1, hazardous routes, should be up for a first read in the very short term. I also just wanted to communicate that the remaining policies, which were tabled during the 5/25 board meeting, will begin the policy review process from scratch. There will be more information communicated around that at the June 22nd board meeting. So Dr. Taylor, could you please lead us in the action portion of the meeting?
Thank you. Just one note, Madam President, that Resolution 4470 was brought forward by a board member, and I want to make sure that the board member had an opportunity to share with her colleagues and the public about that resolution before we move it forward.
I appreciate that, Dr. Taylor. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Well, I can move it and do it during discussion. Is that okay?
Yeah, move it, and then
Okay.
we can discuss it.
Can I move the hand carries as well, Mr. Carrick? Board members, you have 3 very important hand carries as well. So for your consideration, we put forward Resolution 4469 through 4471C. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we are now in discussion for all of the resolutions up for action this evening.
Okay, so do you want me to, I'll take over now. So this resolution, which is Resolution 4470, South Orange Maplewood School District in support of Teach Truth Day of Action, came to us from the Mapso Freedom School. They will be having a Teach Truth in Action event on June 10th in Newark. And I know some of us board members will be attending it, and I would hope to see everybody there. So I'm going to give you a little background information for everybody in the public. On June 10th, the Mapso Freedom School and many other educators around the nation will be participating in Teach Truth Day of Action. Teachers, students, and community leaders will be rallying across the country at historic sites to speak out against anti-history education bills and to make public their pledge to teach the truth. The teacher-led rallies provide a valuable counter-narrative to the oversized coverage of the well-funded anti-CRT movement. The situation is urgent. Lawmakers in at least 44 states have introduced legislation or pursued other measures that attempt to require educators to lie to students about the role of racism, sexism, heterosexualism, transphobia, and other forms of oppression through U.S. history.
These laws and restrictions have been imposed in at least 18 states. Books by Black, Indigenous, authors of color, and LGBTQ+ writers increasingly are being banned. And this is not just in those 44 states, also in New Jersey. Just recently, there was a book banning issue in Roxbury, New Jersey, and many others throughout New Jersey. They're hearing challenges to a number of LGBTQ+ and racially diverse books. As part of the Teach Truth Day of Action, the Mapso Freedom School has asked that our district pass this resolution to show our support, which can be read during the rally on June 10th. The Teach Truth Day of Action and this resolution is sponsored by such organizations as the Zinn Project, Black Lives Matter at Schools, the African American Policy Forum, GLSEN, Asian American Advancing Justice, National Equity Project, the United States Hispanic Leadership Institute, the National Women's Law Center, the NEA, and many more organizations. My hope is that the South Orange Maplewood Board of Education can be another organization that contributes to this important work in advocacy. So that's sort of a little bit of background information, and the policy is available, the resolution is available to be read online.
Just want to make space in case board members had questions for their colleague.
Dr. Telesford.
I just want to say I do think that this resolution is very important. If you remember back last year, this month, we had the renaming of Delia Bolden Elementary School, and this board received, I also received threats because teaching truth is very dangerous, but it's something that we have to do. So I'm fully in support of this resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Telesford. Anyone? Oh, go ahead, Dr. Telesford.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe that our attorney is advising us that we should sever the hand carries. Is that correct?
There's a particular order to them. So for that reason, they should go in order.
4471A, B, and C.
Correct.
Can they stay in this cluster that we have them now?
They can, because that's how they were put
Yes.
on there purposely. So
Got it.
it's fine.
Okay, so
And just wanted to give us some background on that on these resolutions. I'll allow Mr. Burnside and Mr. Carrick to share what can be shared publicly around these resolutions and the genesis of them.
Right. So in the normal course, particularly with large contracts, my office is asked to review them to ensure that there's contract language that is protective of the Board of Education. Without getting into the specifics of this contract, we undertook that review, had a conversation with Mr. Burnside about certain things that we identified as possible issues. The business office agreed that those were issues, followed up with a discussion with the vendor that they were transitioning to. It was ultimately determined that those were, in fact, real issues, causing the business office to reconsider the award. And so we took the steps necessary to ensure that we could do what we're doing tonight, which is to, one, rescind the contract award that was done at the last board meeting. As that contract was never executed, there is no contract, we're just rescinding the award. Two, to rescind the rejection of all bids that occurred last month. That also paved the way to award this contract, so we're now rescinding that action. And then go forward with awarding to the lowest qualified bidder, which was ESS, which is also your currently existing vendor.
Board Member Vadlamani and then Board Member Malaspina.
I just wanted to clarify, maybe I misheard, but I thought you said resolution 4469 to 71C. There is no 4469.
That's correct. 4469 is your first read, so you're just
Okay.
voting to acknowledge that you have seen the first read, and we'll move to the next read via our policy process.
Thanks.
So I sort of have a little bit of concerns about this, just for the fact that we have had some issues with the company that we are now going to be rebidding with and going for. And would love it if we are making it very clear and putting it in writing that they are really being held accountable to address these many issues that are of grave concern to many of us that have occurred during our time here. I know I can't get into great details, but I just want it clear that if I'm going to be voting for this, that I am knowing that we are going to be holding these people accountable to make sure something like this doesn't happen. Some of these issues don't happen again.
I probably can't say anything back to that, but I'll only because of the contract laws and that stuff, but I'll affirm via our attorney that I think our actions have reflected our concerns and have gotten everyone's attention.
Board Member Vadlamani.
And just to, as a counterpoint, I mean, not that I disagree with anything she said, Board Member Malaspina said, but many parents showed up during public speaks and have sent emails for us to continue with the existing paraprofessional organization. So in a way, this is helping their wishes. When although not exactly in the time order or the events order that they wanted, but eventually we're ending up with the same paraprofessional organization and the same people who are going to help children who are used to having them being there. So,
Board Member Malaspina.
I'd like to counter that a little. There was nothing said at all about the people in place. The people themselves are not the issue. It's more the management of the company and the concerns. And while parents may, that's it. That's all I will say. Thank you.
sorry, I made 2 points.
Okay.
The first one was pointing out that, yes, I agree with you. So I don't even know what the conflict here is about. Number one. Number two, I was pointing out to the many people who showed up here to talk about continuing the service. So, I don't think there's any conflict in either of those statements.
Okay, Board Member Deval Wilson.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, perhaps we just have, for the next couple of months, a standing agenda item for FFT, possibly for the special ed committee as well, just to continue to see how things are going and just to cross our Ts, dot our Is, based on the management concerns. But anyway, in general, in FFT, we talk about paraprofessionals and SPED anyway, because it is a large financial item for us. And it's something that, as part of our FFT goals, something that we said we were going to monitor. So I think we'll be in good shape for that.
Board Member Wright.
Well, I'm of the ilk that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And so I'm just going to do that. It doesn't take much to see what's been going on with special needs and the hierarchy, and nobody's complaining. I understand, Mr. Vladimani, about the parents who are wonderful, feel that their parents that are working with them, with their children, some children, not all, are receiving that type of assistance that the parents that we heard from who were here. Unfortunately, we don't hear from those who don't receive those assistance because they're busy working and doing other things. But at any rate, when you show me who you are, I'm going to believe you. Simple as that for me. It's about our children.
Yeah, and one thing to note, thank you, Board Member Deval Wilson, if we don't pass this evening, then we run the risk of not being able to have paraprofessionals with the upcoming school year. So that is something to just keep in the back of your mind. I think there was only one bidder for the contract when we went out to bid. And I believe we're rescinding the co-op relationship, but the actual paraprofessional relationship that we have essentially, we're still using the same paraprofessionals that we voted on last meeting, the same organization. It's the difference is that we are no longer going to work with this particular co-op, correct?
It's probably a little more detailed than that, and I'm not sure how much more I can provide outside of what's written here, is that during our last meeting, you took an action to turn down a bid, and you took an action to approve another opportunity, and we are reversing both of those actions. And there will be no change in the services that our students are receiving now. But as I stated, I think that we're very clear that we have higher expectations around the management and support and fiduciary responsibility of any of our vendors.
Do we have that?
I think that's about all I can say, but I think that our actions have spoken.
Okay, are there any other questions regarding 4469, 4470, or 4471A through C? Board Member Valdemarti.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Where is 4469? I don't see it anywhere.
It's in school boards in the draft agenda. That's where all the first, 4469 is the first
First
read
read.
for
Mhm.
policy 7740, 8420, and 8600.
Okay, well, I don't see a resolution that says that.
It's on your school boards.
It's on school
I'm
board.
on it right. Well,
Yeah. Mhm.
unless things are changing second by second, I mean, that was my first question. Is that where is 4469? I don't see it even online.
It's in the agenda on school
It's on the
boards.
agenda. Not in the attachments.
And not the attachments, but on the agenda itself.
Okay, then I have a problem. I'm sorry. I would have expected to see a separate resolution for each resolution that we pass. And
Well,
I don't know,
because,
can you show it to me, maybe?
because it's first read, you're not approving the policy. You're acknowledging the receipt of the first read, from my understanding, but I'll pass it to our attorney if there's a better explanation.
Let me ask you a question, maybe you can help me. I mean, I thought every decision we made had to have a resolution, and the resolution must be existing here. I don't see it here.
So on the agenda that I have, there's action 4469, first read, and there's policies 7440, policy 8420, and policy 8600. Historically, you have not voted to approve first reads. So you're not taking a vote on that tonight. You will take a vote on that consistent with your existing practice of voting on second read, which is when they become effective. But as I can, it is on my copy, so I don't know if there's another copy circulating around there.
So the question is, if you're going to vote on something that is really not to be voted on, why have a resolution?
This is what you've done historically, and I'm
Okay.
changing things as I come in
No,
and
no,
see
no,
them.
okay, then I'm mistaken then.
We can have a discussion
We've
about.
always done this. Have you always done this? I've never seen a resolution. Okay, I mean, that's fine if you say so. Then I have nothing against it. Okay, good.
Yeah, that is it is customary that our first reads are a part of our resolutions.
I think we're ready for roll call.
Just to reiterate, board members, your 4469 are your three first read policies. Your 4470 is the resolution from our board in support of Teach Truth Day action. Your other three are your hand carries in the order that you received them.
Board Member Eckert,
Yes.
Board President Whitletter,
Yes.
Board Member Malaspina,
Yes.
Board Member Gifford,
Yes.
Board Member Wright, Board Member Deval Wilson.
Yes.
Board Member Telesford.
Yes.
Board Member Vadlamani.
Yes?
Motion's passed.
Okay, that concludes the action portion of the meeting. Thank you all. With that, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session at 8:06 PM to discuss the Black Parents Workshop settlement. The length of the executive session is estimated to be about 60 minutes, after which the board will reconvene and immediately adjourn. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Ecker. All in favor? The vote appears to be unanimous. We are now adjourning to closed session. Thank you very much.
Stay in touch, Noah.
I went to Rutgers undergrad too.
Keep an eye on it.
Education will meet in a special public session on Monday, June 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. at 525 Academy Street, Maplewood, New Jersey, and will immediately adjourn to go into executive session in person, as well as using an online video conference platform in the superintendent's office to discuss the chief school administrator evaluation and negotiations. No action will be taken. The Board of Education will meet in public session on Thursday, June 22nd at 6:30 p.m. in the district meeting room, 525 Academy Street, Maplewood, New Jersey. Immediately following the opening of public session, the board will move to go into a closed session in the superintendent's office, 525 Academy Street, Maplewood, New Jersey, as well as using an online video conference platform to discuss personnel matters within the attorney-client privilege, legal negotiations, and other matters that may arise and require discussion to be announced at a later date. Immediately following the closed session, the Board of Education will meet in public session estimated to be 7:30 p.m. in the district meeting room, 525 Academy Street, Maplewood, New Jersey, in person, utilizing an online video conference platform, which will include hearing of individuals. The community can view the meeting by following the steps which will be listed on the agenda. If there are members of the community who would like to attend the meeting in person, please note that masks and social distancing are optional in accordance with the guidance received from the local DOH and the CDC. Action will be taken. The Board of Education will meet in a special public session on Thursday, June 29th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. at 525 Academy Street and will immediately adjourn to go into executive session in person, as well as using an online video conference platform in the superintendent's office to discuss the chief school administrator evaluation. No action will be taken. May I have a second? All in favor? That appears to be unanimous. So now, I was going to say Mr. Burnside. I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting on Monday, June 5th at 9:30 p.m. May I have a second? All in favor, meeting is adjourned. Congratulations again to all of our educators and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.